I'm going to explain it to you like this. And I hope that you will see it for what it is. You probably won't because you don't want to. Because therefore it won't match the narrative that you're trying to paint. Okay? But I want you to think about this. You are a stranger trying to tell another stranger what she lived through in their life years ago. Do you understand that? You're trying to tell a stranger what she went through years ago that you don't know. So most likely somebody's probably said this to you and you thought it sounded good because you think it makes me look bad, okay? But it's not true. And you just roll with it. You just rolled with it. But you've been influenced. But if you'd like to know, I'm assuming you ain't heard me on podcasts before, and that's okay. Not everybody listens to everything or sees everything that I do, but I'd be happy to tell you this. Before I get started, my children are grown. Ask them anything you want, honey, okay? But you won't get this. Not now, not ever. I've said many times before on my platform, me and my ex-husband, we didn't go by what anybody said. We did things our way, okay? Because we did what was right for our kiddos until I had to make some executive decisions as a mama because things over there at Dad's house wasn't so good anymore when the kids would be at Dad's house. Anyway, so when I was signed, first of all, no, I did not cheat on my ex-husband with my husband now. No, not at all. By the time I signed my divorce papers, my ex-husband and his girlfriend at the time, which ended up being his wife, they'd already moved into, he moved into her place. Like, everybody had done moved on, okay? Now, I didn't meet my husband, Derek, until way after the fact. The fact that we decided that was it. We was going to divorce and we was just going to co-parent. Now, was I still legally married to my ex-husband when I met Papa Ty? Absolutely. Anyway, I said not too long ago that I haven't even touched on a third of what I went through in my life. A lot of it with my mama, a whole lot of it. But back during that time, while I was going through my divorce, I hadn't went no contact yet with my mama. I had stopped talking to her for months before, and then she would say everything was going to be different and you give them another chance and you go back only to be hurt triple times all over again. You know the narcissistic abuse pattern. If you don't know, that's a good thing, cowcatcher. Anyway. So when I was going through the divorce, I was staying at my friend Greg's house. I had nothing, okay? And literally my car, the only vehicle I had just gotten repoed. My mother, in one of her episodes, what does she do? Automatically starts threatening to call CPS because that was one of her ammunition on me. She did it to me when I was 16 years old with my baby. She tried to get my baby taken from me. Didn't work. Another thing that she would like to do to her children was put them in jail for something and then not show up for court so that the case would be thrown out. My brother can tell you anything about that if you need to know. But back to my story. So because of that, I talked to my kid's dad and I said, we've got to do something because I'm afraid that she's going to come in here and snatch everything like she's did so many times before. So what did we do? I signed the custody on paper over in his attorney's office, us together, signed the custody over on paper so that she wasn't going to mess with him because there's one thing true and one thing for certain is she would never go against his family. So me and my ex-husband talked it over and he was like, hell yeah, she's not about to mess with me. She's not about to mess with, his girlfriend at the time ended up being his wife. So we said, we'll just keep everything the same. I'll have them these days. They'll be back and forth. And she won't be messing with nobody. So we did. Back and forth. Until something really, really, really bad happened. And that's something called addiction. Okay? And addiction seeped into their father's life faster than ever. Now, you can ask my kids who do they blame for that. They don't blame him. They blame somebody else right next to him. But we won't go into that. Matter of fact, it was so bad, she wasn't even allowed at that man's funeral. I was. She wasn't. Anyway, when I'd pick the kids up, they'd start telling me things because they were getting a little older and they were starting to recognize things over there at Dad's house. Things that were not good, that two people were over there doing, as you can imagine. So I talked to Dad again and I said, the kids really don't want to keep going back and forth no more. So I'm just going to keep them here, during the week. They can just go to your house whenever they feel like it, this, that, and the third. He didn't care. He didn't care at all because I was better for him. He had free room in that place to do anything he needed to do. Kids stopped going over there. Dad stopped calling. Like, it was bad. It was bad. Started having trouble with my baby child because, as you can imagine, he felt abandoned by him. He was close to his daddy. Me and my daughter, close as ever. Close as ever. And that's one thing that my baby girl knows she can do. She can talk to me about anything. Okay? My daughter went through a lot of things over there. A lot. The home over here with me and my husband there was their safe place. And thank goodness they was over here every damn week. Okay? Because, my goodness, the things that my daughter had to go through. And I won't be sitting here telling you what my daughter went through. That's not my place to tell. But just know that when you say things like that, you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know somebody's life, honey. You just look at a piece of paper and think you got it all figured out. And you don't. You don't. We went through hell. We went through absolute hell. His addiction was so bad when I got him on the phone that day and said, the kids don't really want to go back and forth anymore. They're just going to, be over here. You know what he said to me? Am I still going to get the child support check? Am I still going to get the child support check? Not me. Him. That if they were going to be living with me full time, he still wanted to make sure that he got that money. So you can imagine where the money went to. Because that's what happens with addiction. Sadly. Not all the time. But it did this time. You don't know my life. You don't know my kids. You don't know anything. You're a stranger on the app that wants to see something as bad, and it's not. And I've seen a lot of you lately. I've seen so many lies, it makes me sick. That's why I don't even defend them, because it's like, what the point? If people actually believe this most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen in my entire life, I think they got bigger fish to fry. There are many, many mamas like me on this app. I know one of them that I have just become like this with, because I get her. I get her. Because don't think there weren't times. Don't think there wasn't times that he'd get a wild hair up his butt and try to, hold the kids for this and hold the kids for that. But I fought. That was the difference between me and my mama, is that I fought. My mama didn't fight for hers. You don't know anything about that now, do you? You don't want to neither, because that's a whole nother trauma. Moral to this story is, I have literally went through hell. Went through hell and walked out holding the flames. And my children tell me all the time they're so glad I didn't give up. But I can't tell you how that feels whenever your daughter says, my happiest times as a kid, I was with my mama. But you don't get to tell a stranger about their life when you didn't live it and you don't know anything about it. What's crazy is that you really thought you had something when you're probably one of those people that does have things that happen in their life that they're not proud of or something. Hell, I got things I'm not proud of, which is why I don't do stuff like this to people. So, I don't know. I know that you just can't regret anything you ever been through, because I am telling you, I am a strong person because of a lot of things, and I'm proud of that. Very proud of that. And God rest my ex-husband's soul. I tried to help him so many times before. I talked to him that Wednesday about my daughter's graduation. He passed away on Mother's Day. They didn't find out until Tuesday. And then 2 days later, my daughter had to walk the stage to graduate. Proud of my kids, too. But I hope you have a good day. And I don't know. Maybe just don't